Guess what I fucking got? I got a new toy for my camera. Well, it's not a toy, because I'm going to use it, but I was amazed when I found it. Sometimes photography is fucking great. Sometimes you really get the dopamine flowing as a photographer. And shit. So you never guess what I fucking got. It's fucking cool. It's probably the coolest thing I've ever purchased. This is a vintage 500mm Nikon lens, F8. It's got this orange stripe, which from what I saw on the internet, means it's rare, this version, which makes it kind of a collector's item. So you might be going, well, what the fuck? It looks like a big piece of shit lens. It's F8. I don't want to fuck with that. Well, here's something interesting. This is a mirror lens, much like a telescope, and it's pretty fucking amazing. It gives you very unique pictures. Lens looks a little dirty now that I'm looking at it, but not that it matters at 500mm. We're gonna try and do two things today. We're gonna test this lens out, and we're gonna shoot some fucking time lapses and see if the GH5 can do the same job as the fucking Nikon D850, which I did not bring. I just brought my GH5, and we're gonna fuck with this lens a little bit. Ought to be cool and shit. So this beast of a lens, when you put it on the GH5 with my Viltrox Speedbooster, turns it into a 710mm lens. F10, F11-ish with the math. And it's so zoomed in that you cannot really hand hold it unless you're shooting at a high shutter speed. So for video, you're not going to really film with this unless it's on a tripod or something like that. But the fact that you get this wildlife level of, you know, I hear an owl in the distance. I want to go find the motherfucker and see how close to it I can get with this. But today I want to shoot a time lapse with it, and I also want to get out and see if I can get up close and personal with any wildlife and take either some pictures or video of some wildlife out here, at least while the light cooperates. Now, because this lens is so heavily stopped down, it's going to have, I don't need to get an ND filter. You can get ND filters for them. It's probably hard to find because it's on in between the back element is where you put the filter. Although there is a front filter too, but that's taken up by the very small lens hood. So this is a very compact lens with a shit ton of reach. So that's how far away, well, yeah, pretty much. It's 24mm on this Osmo Pocket, but that's how far away this fucking place is, and look how close I am in this frame. It's pretty fucking amazing. That clearly isn't going to be a good enough time lapse, so I need to aim that way across the lake. And what I can see way over there, I see people on the dock that's over there. I want to see if I can get a better look at him. That is just sick. How close I'm getting there. And I even have the option of zooming in and cropping in a little more. So let's see how that looks. That'll probably put us at close to 800 millimeters. So I've got the lossless crop from the GH5 now on this lens. And the people left. But damn, like even the slightest little, like if I breathe on this motherfucker, it's pretty fucking insane how close I can get with this lens. This is definitely a great wildlife lens if I can manage it. Turns out 711 millimeters is too much for this little fucking lake and shit. So we're gonna go find some wildlife to see if I can capture it. Ought to be interesting. It's gonna be hard to find wildlife as noisy as people are. I did hear an owl toward the other way, so maybe we'll head that way. Because it's still clear enough to find an owl. I'd be happy with a fucking chipmunk right now. So I have till 8 o'clock to find some more wildlife, which is pretty much what this lens is going to be used for, or from landscapes from really far away. But for the most part, I'm pretty impressed with how close I'm getting to stuff. And now I'm on the other side trying to find the owl. before I have to leave, because I heard the motherfucker, and it's in the same area I saw him a couple years ago that it sounded like it was coming from. So hopefully he sees me and lets out an owl warning or some shit, and I can get a better idea of his position. But it's kind of fun. I'm enjoying shooting wildlife. I've never really had a lens that could do it. You know, I got a 70-200, which gets you a little close, but this motherfucker, I can count the hairs and shit. Now, I'm noticing it's not the sharpest fucking lens either. I don't know for sure, but as far as looking through the viewfinder, even at f10 or whatever the fuck I'm at, the depth of field is still pretty fucking shallow. Another thing you'll notice with this lens, and I'm gonna do some stuff on the way home after the sun goes down, maybe a night lapse or something. You'll notice that the bokeh is not typical bokeh. It comes out in these little ring-like donut shapes and shit. So it's a little bit different than what people are used to. How's it going? So now I'm just gonna wander around and see if I can find that fucking owl. So the water is like silky smooth and shit. So I decided to stop and do a time lapse using the 35mm f1.4, closed all the way down so I can get more depth of field. But one of the flaws of using the Viltrox Speedbooster is that I don't feel like I'm even hitting f8 on this lens. So there's that, and the 500mm is just too much for a landscape. That lens is strictly a wildlife or really up close and personal portrait, like partial face portrait. Unless you have your model stand like probably 150 feet away. You have to call them on the fucking cell phone just to get them to pose. So yeah, I'm gonna let this run for a while, get some cloud movement in both the water and I'm gonna get some cloud movement in both the water and in the sky at the same time, since the water's so calm. As it gets a little darker, I don't have a lot of time because I gotta be out of here by 8. But as it gets a little darker, the shutter speed should slow down to a point to make it look pretty silky smooth. I put on silent mode, so I've heard rumors of the GH5 fucking up the shutter on a long time lapse, so I left it on electronic shutter. But we'll see if this holds up against the 8K time lapses I shoot with the Nikon. I don't think it will, at least not with this lens. We'll try the native lenses, maybe on the way home or something. Yeah, but I do want to do a time lapse with that vintage lens just to see the bokeh and how it comes out, and that'll be pretty fun after dark and shit. So, but yeah, I'm happy with the lens, and that lens was only $200, and it's probably valued at $300 on the market for the regular lens. And I don't know if it's a rare one because of the orange stripe or not. I just heard that from ScottThePhotographer, who's the only other motherfucker that has that lens apparently. He said that that's the rare one. It's worth like $600 or $700, and I paid $200 for it used. And I'm in the process of selling off my 70-200 Tamron G2 just because it's so heavy and bulky, and honestly I don't really need it for weddings, especially now that I got that 500mm. I could set that up on a tripod and get up close with that, and then roam around with an 85mm and get pretty good portraits. Plus, shooting at 45 megapixels on the 85, I can essentially do a 50% crop on that, which doubles that to 160 millimeters. So I'm only losing 40 millimeters, and then I could even take it in even further depending on the client's needs, and essentially get up as close with the 85. It's just that lens is heavy, it's bulky, it's miserable working in an event with it. And I'm probably going to do some test shooting before I sell it, just to make sure that I can get the job done without it, just by shooting an event with the 85. As far as vibration reduction, that's nice to have, but in an event you need to keep your shutter speed up anyway because people are moving around and shit. It's golden hour. Make sure I'm not putting this in my fucking time-lapse frame, but I'm doing a sunset. Yeah, alright. Just making sure. So, yeah, I wish I could say it's been peaceful, but I had like a family of 3 with a kid, young kid, stop here and eat and make lots of noise and harsh my mellow and shit. But no, I think most people are heading out. It's getting close to the part. I'm really getting it down to the wire because I want to get this fucking sunset time lapse done. Just because of the way the water, how calm the water is. And it's gonna look pretty sweet. Of course, you're looking at it shortly. Actually, you're looking at it right now. I'll play it right fucking now and shit. So I think the GH5's getting her done. Definitely gonna be my. I've got my gear down to probably 15 pounds now. I used my lighter backpacking tripod, which is that thing right there. I love the Osmo Pocket. Put it on the end of a stick and you can do wonderful things. Except when it loses track of your fucking face. The lightest weight backpacking tripod I have seen. I just wish the Osmo tracked better. And shit. But yeah, I've got my weight down, so I'll definitely be able to. I want to get my main pack weight down too. It's got a lot of bullshit in there I don't need, I think. So, trying to get more light. 60 pounds, I'm learning, is maybe a little extreme. Especially since I don't go out for more than 5 days at a time. Don't really need 60 pounds, especially if I'm wilderness fasting. So, there's that. We got 100 frames left. I'm not going to catch the sun going behind the trees because I don't have enough time. But yeah, I think I got my adventure setup ready between the Osmo, the GoPro when I want to wear it. Looking back at my Tinker Falls video, the GoPro kind of sucked. I saw a lot of artifacts. You know, it was having trouble dealing with a busy background like this, whereas the Osmo seemed to perform better. So I think I'm just going to mount the Osmo. The downside is I don't have a wide variety of battery. Is that bug noises? Should I be worried? Like, that's some loud ass bug noises. I don't even know if you can hear it. I think I'm gonna get killed by mosquitoes. Fuck my life. Between that and the ticks being all over everything. Who knows? It's definitely bug noise. Let's see how this fucking thing's doing. "69 frames to go." What am I doing on time? Yeah, it's right when it says. I love that the GH5, not only is it doing the time lapse with photos, but it renders out a 4K video at the end, with the aspect ratio being a little off. But that I could easily crop that in, throw it up on Instagram or something. And overall, it's pretty fucking convenient compared to the Nikon. I've had failed time lapses because of the shitty interface with the Nikon, but this seems to be spectacular. I'm really unnerved by the sound of bugs. Like, what bugs are making that noise? Is that fucking mosquitoes are doing that? I'm gonna try cranking the sound so maybe you can hear it. That's fucking crazy. Can you hear the bug sound? That's fucking crazy. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die in here. This is not good. Shit. Alright. Maybe I'll be able to get out of the gate. Just maybe. This lens looks pretty sweet. Although I have to hold my arm fully out. It's a good thing I go to the fucking gym. Somebody's coming. I can't believe that bug noise. It's louder here. There's billions of them.